Look how cute this little thing is. Street photography can be a tricky genre of photography to work our way around. But fear not, I have found 5 photographers to help me give you some amazing advice in getting started in street photography. What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today is all about street photography, and more specifically, getting started in street photography. But instead of getting the advice from me, I've rounded up 5 of my brilliant photography friends who are going to give you the advice instead. Starting off with Mandy Million, aka A Mill Shots. As you can see from her work here, it is amazing. The details of the street photography, absolutely stunning. So I asked these guys for their number 1 tip to get started in street photography. And they all text me their answers, so they're on my phone. Mandy's tip, and in true Mandy fashion, was try to go for the details. Sometimes one little detail can tell more of a mysterious story than you think. And that's a great bit of advice. As you can see, Mandy loves the details, and the details in her pictures tell beautiful stories. And that is something when you first start photography, you should definitely be looking out for. If you can see a tail wagging, I have a cat on me who is not assisting at all. Right. Next up is Peter Kalnbach. I hope I pronounced that right, Peter. Apologies if it's not quite spot on. But Peter is a brilliant photographer. Very different style to Mandy, as you can see. And his bit of advice is brilliant. He said, my tip for street photography for beginners is to take bad photos. When I started street photography, and sometimes even now, I'm afraid of taking bad photos. And I think just want to jump in there, that's a really good point, because despite Peter having 65,000 followers on Instagram, he's still worried about taking bad photos, and that's completely normal. And it's encouraging for someone who's getting started to know that even someone as good as Peter still has those doubts. I will continue. He said, because I feel like I am not as good as I want to be and I feel discouraged. This leads sometimes to not even pressing the shutter when I'm not sure that everything will turn out as I want it to be. On the other hand, I have realised that I can learn more from my bad images than the good ones, which is a very, very good point. You can see why an image does not work and what to do better next time. And sometimes an unexpectedly bad photo turns out to be something you can work well with in post. So do not underestimate the potential from your bad photos. Thanks to Peter, because that is brilliant advice. As I said before, the bad photos, you learn loads from them, and sometimes they turn out alright. So just take loads of photos. You'll learn more from the bad ones than the good ones. Great advice, thank you Peter. Next up is Sabby, who's another absolutely unbelievable photographer. You might know her better as Not Quite Developed. As you can see from her photos here, she has a very unique style in terms of actually what she's taken and the editing process. Beautiful compositions, beautiful details, and elegance to the photos. We love them. So thank you for sharing your one bit of advice, which is another good one. Always remember why you started. When I first started shooting, I was doing it for me because I enjoyed every aspect of it. Shooting, curating, editing, and getting feedback from others. Getting feedback from others is an interesting point actually, just to jump in. It's really important to communicate and reach out to other photographers, get advice, see what they think of your photos and how you might be able to improve. Sometimes getting someone else's perspective can really change up how you see your own photos, so that's a great bit of advice, so heed that. I will continue. Even when people openly criticise my work, I remind myself that this is my journey. I also think it's important not to compare yourself to others. Everyone sees things differently, and the whole process was a learning experience, whether you are an experienced shooter or just a novice. Just focus on you, what you love, and what it was that drew you to street photography in the first place. Your passion will always shine through. That is wonderful advice. Skip back, listen to it again, because it's brilliant. Sorry, sick. Been ill for about a week now. It's not good. I don't ever get ill. Anyway, I digress. The next photographer who I've managed to coerce into joining me on this little adventure here is Naty who you guys may know as Naty, by the way. And if you do know Naty, you know she's a bundle of fun and really sweet, really nice person. So check her out, make sure you give her a follow. In fact, all of the guys, their Instagram handles will be in the description. So slide down, make sure you're following them, say thanks for their advice, go and comment on their last photos and give them some love. As you can see on screen now, Naty's images are absolutely amazing. She has a very unique blue and orange style, which we absolutely love. And I asked Naty for one bit of advice and she sent me 5 through, so I'm going to pick my favourite one. And actually, it's one of my own heart. I actually think this is probably my bit of advice as well, but you don't get any advice from me today because I found 5 photographers who are much better than me, so they will get their advice instead. So Naty's advice was, extreme conditions are her favourite playground, especially fog and heavy rain. It really gives a cinematic atmosphere to the entire frame, and I couldn't agree more. If you look through Peter's photos, if you look through Naty's photos, those are 2 really good examples of where they use the conditions, very foggy, very extreme, and they can just make those cinematic photos that are unbelievable. You could literally, they could be taken from a film, and they're so cool. Some of my favourite photos. So if you're looking to get started, look at those extreme conditions. They will really help you out. Last and not least is James, who you can see, follow, and you can see his stuff there, or is it there? It's one of them. It's there. But James is a wicked photographer. I love his stuff. It's very different to the other guys. Much wider, much more street, and it's Japan. And Japan is just stunning. Look at it. I mean, look at these photos on screen now. They are beautiful. So thank you, James, for providing us with those, and thank you for this bit of advice because it's very different and it's great. I love it. And it goes a bit like this: take your time getting to know an area and experiment with the environment. Great advice. You'd be surprised with the compositions you can find even in the most ordinary or boring looking places. And I think that's great advice because not everyone lives in London, not everyone lives in New York. I mean, New York photos are a joke, by the way. So not everyone lives in these places, and sometimes your town or your city might not be that photogenic. But if you're creative and you work around the environment, find different perspectives, you can still get some amazing shots. So thank you to James, Naty, Sabby, Peter, Mandy for giving us some amazing advice. They are in the comments below. Give them a follow. Like I said, hit them up in the comments and say thank you very much for the advice because it's brilliant. And these guys are excellent photographers, as you can see. So heed their advice. It's very, very, very good. But Friday Flicks, we try and keep these things short and sharp. I'm not sure how short and sharp this one's been, but it's been informative, and that's the most important thing. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you did enjoy it, and turn the notifications on if you really enjoyed it. Until the next one, peace.